Okay, let's take a look at a more complex example of our article document. And here we'll start to incorporate some bibliography citations. So let's say in our conclusion you would like to cite somebody, and actually I'm just going to get rid of this citation for now. Just delete this line right here. Now before you do that, let me just start from scratch here. What you will have to do is open up BibDesk, which will open up a new document. Here is pretty much where you will be structuring your bibliography if you're working on Macintoshes. You should use JabRef. It's JabRef is the software for Windows and Linux, and in fact you can use the software on Macs. So if you're working on multiple OSs, I suggest JabRef, but if you're only on Macs, go with BibDesk. That's what I prefer. I know this program really well. So the ideas will be very similar. Now BibDesk has this option to search PubMed inside. So let's say you would like to find an author group that you would like to cite. So let's say I would like to cite these guys here, and what you can do is import the citation straight to your library. Notice now in my library I have one citation by Konar Bennett Sekuler, and right away what the BibDesk has pulled off of PubMed is all of the information that will be required to create a reference entry in our LaTeX document. Alright, so once you've done this, let's just save the file, otherwise we'll not be able to access the citations. So I will save it as our hello world. We'll just keep consistent. So I'll rewrite it because I had already saved it previously, and notice this is the citation key that you'll be using inside of your LaTeX document. So right away, once in BibDesk or JabRef, you can hit the shortcut for copy or Command C, or alternatively you could just do right click, copy cite command, go to your LaTeX document and paste. And right away LaTeX is smart enough to know that it should indicate that this is a citation with a / and the cite function. Your citation key is added in curly braces, just pretty much as any content in LaTeX after a function command. And once you've done that, let's just test out what we will have to do here. So before you can even do any typesetting, we are not done with the bibliography yet. So bibliography requires 2 lines of code. The first one is called bibliography style, and here you can specify anything such as plain. Alternatively, it could be something like ACM, IEE, ETR. I think there's also something called APA like, and a whole bunch of other ones. You can always Google this or check them in the not so short introduction to LaTeX. All of these should be there, but I'll just use plain for now for our first example. The second bibliography command that you will require is you have to refer to the file that you have just created. In this case it's called hello world. The other thing to note is that I'm currently working in TechShop on the file called hello world 2, which is in this folder here, hello world 2, and my BibDesk file or my BibTeX file is called hello world, and that file is right there. Both of these files are in the same directory. This is preferable when you're working with LaTeX, but I can show you how to manipulate the directories if, for example, if you would like to move your bibliography to a different directory. So we can do that afterwards, but for now assume that all your documents are in the same directory. Great. So the command for including this file in your LaTeX document is called bibliography. That's it. And you just specify the document name, hello world. And you don't even have to use the extension. In this case, the extensions for BibTeX files are BIB for bibliography. And LaTeX knows that whenever you specify bibliography, this file will have the extension .bib. Okay, now we're ready to start. And note the sequence of typesetting a document that includes a bibliography file as a separate file is the following. Steps for typesetting document with bibtech. Alright, so the first one you would have to do is run LaTeX once. The second typesetting you would have to do is to run bibtech. Next you would have to do LaTeX a second time, and then a third time. So these 4 steps are what you would have to do in order to make sure all your references are shown correctly. And I'll touch on briefly why that is. So let's typeset our document. Currently it's set to LaTeX. We hit typeset, and let's just observe what warnings we get. So notice LaTeX warning. Citation, blah blah blah, whatever the shortcut to our citation was, is undefined. And it's undefined in this document called .aux, the auxiliary file. If you were to take a look at the auxiliary file, notice that it has a citation, but it's not being used yet. And the reason for that is because we haven't run bibtech on our LaTeX document. So let's see what happens to the folder. I'll select all the files, and right now I'll run bibtech. Here you would go to typeset and bibtech. Okay, so first things to notice when you go back to the Finder, 2 more files are being created, .bbl and .blg. These files are sort of like auxiliary files, but they're telling your LaTeX document how to incorporate your references into your document. Notice here we don't have any errors or warnings. That means everything was run correctly. Now the next step, so I've just done step 2. Now we go with step 3 and step 4. I hit typeset, and again notice that it's still not completed. It does give me the references already, but it's still not accessing the citation correctly. So for example, it's not saying that number 1, which is Yaroslav Konar blah blah blah, have found some interesting results. It just gives you a question mark like it used to for incorrect labels and references. So what we have to do is typeset one more time. Boom. Are there any errors? No more warnings or errors. And if, for example, you have lost this console, you close it, for example, you can always check the log file. The log file gets updated every time, and it will display all the sequences that have been run up to that point. So notice there are no errors, everything was run smoothly. Perfect. Alright, so that was a little introduction on how to incorporate a bibtech file and your LaTeX document. In this case I used plain. Let's try a different one, APA-like, something that most people will recognize. I run LaTeX once. I will run bibtech. No errors. Great. Then I'll run LaTeX one more time. And notice it's already changed the numbering system. It's provided, instead of a 1, it's giving it in square brackets as the citation. And if I typeset one more time, it'll incorporate the actual author and year inside the sentence. Instead of having arbitrary numbers, you now have Konar et al. Have found something interesting. And that was a quick intro to how to incorporate bibliography styles. In this case I used APA-like or plain, and the file that you would have to create separately. And notice that if you were to do this in Word, you would have to incorporate EndNote, which is another program that you have to pay for. So this is a nice free way of using all of the LaTeX documents to typeset an article.